how influential would you say that your dad was in pushing you in terms of not giving up and in terms of being disciplined with it?
I'm about to gas him up. He ain't here, so um, he's my number one supporter. As simple as that. When everyone said that this was unrealistic, he was the one guy saying, "Yeah, I hear you, but this is realistic." He was the one that, like, when everyone said that this isn't a real thing, he's like, "No, I see the future." When no one could see the future, he saw the future. He saw my potential. He saw where we can take it. And now it's years later, and everyone in the beginning that was like, he should play basketball, he should be a kid, he should do this, is now looking at me like, oh, wow. Like, I'm very proud of you. My dad was very instrumental in everything. As a kid, you don't have that much direction. As a kid, we all have, like, a mind where we're into one thing and then we're into the next one. That's why I play basketball and I quit the piano to play basketball. Me being older, I wish I would have kept playing the piano. But having a person like my dad, he helped me with my mind and keeping it straight. Like, oh, this is where we need to go. This is the future. This is where you're going to go. He let me know that I was great before I could even recognize the greatness that was inside of me.
That's a good first question because for me it was rough. I'm from Southwest Philly. My pop went to jail real early, so like the time that we had money, I was like really too young to really understand. I look back now and I see the pictures and stuff and I understand it, but I was too young to know, and all I remember is hardship.
What age did he go away?
Well, I was 4. Yeah, and by the time he got out, I was a man. You know what I mean? Like I was like, not, I wasn't a grown man, but I was molded already. We just spoke about that recently, me and my dad. I was already molded. So for me, it was just more like I was, you product of your environment, the people you run around, you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. So
all right. So by the time I seen an interview, you said that your dad used to draw.
Well, I figured it out in jail because he would send me letters and it had all his art on it. And I was just like, I was asking my mom, like, who did that? Like, and she's like, he did it. And I was like, damn, like, really? You know what I mean? Like, and it blew my mind. And it kind of like just made me start doing it.
Who did that?
The tattoo?
Yeah.
My ex.
But
That's Isaac's first drawing. First one, when he was 2 years old. I gave him some newsprint and a Sharpie, and that's what he did.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, even though you weren't living with your dad, like, would you say that your dad being an artist influenced you to be an artist, or was that something you picked up on your own?
I would say so, yeah. His influence was not what people assume it would be. Seeing my dad every other weekend, he never really sat and taught me how to paint or how to draw or anything like that. We talked about art and we went to go look at art. Oftentimes he would take me to an art gallery, a museum, or an art fair, or we'd sometimes go and do a studio visit. So oftentimes it wasn't him really trying to push me to do art or teach me how to do art. It was more him exposing me to art, and that was his main influence. I knew that he was an artist and I've seen his art, but I never got to watch him work because he liked to work in solitary, like by himself, and he would close the door and he liked it to be very like quiet and very, very solitary, very, just isolated from the world. So I never really got to like watch him work, and that I think had I got to watch him work, that would have been a bigger influence. But I seeing his work up close was kind of enough for me. Seeing the finished product was sort of my, that's what I sort of like extracted from him. And I could have, I felt like I've, been around him while he was working and didn't necessarily have to watch him. But we were always going to art galleries and museums and things like that. So that was like the biggest like thing that he did was just expose me to art, different kinds of art. You know, we'd go downtown LA, around like the arts district, and like we would see like the graffiti. I grew up around like a bunch of graffiti artists out here in LA, so that was another like aspect of like exposure that I had as a kid. So.
Do your parents know what you do?
Not really.
Do they know like how big you are? Like.
And that's the thing, because when I was coming up, I used to be like, damn. I used to be in the field. I mean, I'm still in the field, but I'm like, damn. I can't even like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not saying I always got advice from like my mom and my dad. My dad advice be mad old school, so I'm just trying to hear that shit. But it's not, you feel me? That's because I guess I'm a rebel. But like, my mom always give me advice and shit, but it's like, damn. Like just regular life shit. Them niggas don't be knowing what I do. So it's just like, I can't be like, yo, look what I did. Yo, mom, check this out. And they be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know.
Like, they tell you to get a real job. Like,
hell no. They see that money.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But they never like, my mom.
Before the bread, though.
Nah, I tell them I'm doing that, and they be like, bet, man.
So they support it in that way.
Yeah, they support me whatever I do. Because I'm not dumb. And they know I'm not dumb. So like, but my mom always supported me, so that's all I care about. I don't care if my dad don't support me. I love my dad though. We cool, but you feel me? Mm-hmm. I would say I'm a mama boy or anything. So I don't really care what my dad got to say. Like, if anything, my daughter's my dad. My oldest daughter, my dad.
I mean, I've always been creative. Both my parents are artists, but you know, when your parents do something, you're just like young and you don't want to do what they do. So like, I was like, I'm not gonna do the art. But I was doing poetry because I was always been a writer. You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah. But since I was little, I was a writer. So like, I would do poetry and I would do all these programs in the school when they would have like, you could take art, you could take poetry, you could take film, something. So I was always doing the poetry, and that just turned into rap. But then I got a computer, so I was learning how to do graphic design, just hustling, like any which way you could possibly make $1. Like if it's a CD cover or if it's a website, I started getting nasty with the Photoshop. And something happened when I went to college up in SUNY Purchase, that these clocks came together. And then I had done like a silent auction in the little apartment that they had, like where all the spots, they had all lined up different apartments. And then I just did these clocks and like they all sold. And I was like, oh shit, I got some bread from this. Like that I just made from that is what I would get for trying to like spend 4 days trying to make this cover or something. So like this is hitting. But it took me, I'm in 10 years in now, and I didn't even realize that until like this other gallery that I was dating a chick with started, and they got a decade book, and I'm like, oh shit. But I didn't really take it serious until like the last 3 years, and literally like all the people that knew me from a kid were like, oh, welcome to the art, like you finally doing art. Like that was what I was supposed to be doing the whole time, even though I was doing something similar. It wasn't maybe necessarily the clocks, you know what I mean? So it's a crazy transition, but you know, I'm still circling back to the music, and I still do graphic design, you know what I mean? But I might not necessarily do clothing or like music videos anymore because the clocks have just taken off. It's changed my entire life.
Me and my sister, like growing up, we always just used to think, oh, like, our pops is nuts. This nigga's just crazy. Like, you know what I mean? I used to think, like, like, yo, he's just crazy, bro. Like, this nigga be wild. But we used to walk into places, and then he'd just be like, yo, y'all see that over there? Y'all see those colors over there? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you see how they blend in there? You see how? I'm like, yeah. You see that? He's like, a lot of people don't see that. A lot of people don't understand that. He used to talk to me all the time. A lot of people don't understand color. Like, a lot of people don't get it. He was like, you guys see it, right? I mean, my sister's like, yeah, of course we see it. Yeah, my pops was making a lot of money.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, my pops was making bread off his stuff. He was selling his stuff for a lot of money. But my father makes big canvases, like. But even so, I never thought of that.
Did your dad ever approach you about it? Like, put some of your work on the canvas or collaborate with me? He always just told me, like, whatever I wanted to do was fine. Like, whatever I wanted to create, it was good. Just whatever you want to do in life, you have to just do it. Especially being because he knew I was a creator. Especially being a creator, you can't just like hold back on it. You got to give it everything. That's what he always put in my head. Create, just create it. Just let it come out. Just put it out there. People will come to it. Just put it out there. That's what he always put in my head. But that was more towards like the video stuff. That was more towards the music stuff, because that's what I wanted to do as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, growing up, everybody in the hood, they want to rap. They want to, or play ball. And that was my shit. I wanted to make music. That's what I thought in my head.
Thank God I had OGs and shit like that really filled that void, because they was like, oh no, you that nigga, you nice. And they gave me that confidence, thank God. But if I ain't had them, then it would have been quiet. I'd have been off the military school or some bullshit like that they was trying to do.
So it wasn't like what I thought happened. I thought that you would hang out with him and see him draw and he would teach you. So
it was I never told my daughter. And she's nice with it, I never sat down with her and told her. She just saw I do it. It's kind of the same exact thing, Like he never sat me down ever, not once. Yeah. I love my parents to death, but like, imagine in the 90s trying to support a kid from Philly with a rap career. It's like Will Smith is the last person really who like, and that was a while ago. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even be mad at them for not wanting to support it, really. But they had no idea how good I was. So it would have been good just to like at least front and just be like, yeah, like I believe in you. And like, having that support. So for me, I make sure that like, even if she didn't do art, like I don't give a fuck what she did. If she showed me she was passionate about something, I'm supporting it 100% because I know how important following your passion is versus succumbing to the pressure and just becoming a robot. You know what I mean? So it's like for me, I'm like, man, I saw she was into it. She got my support, but like I said, she could have did anything that wasn't cookie cut. And I would have been like, let's go. She don't need my support for a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is.